So I think the main story, the main series going on at the moment is the cricket, as we're just into India versus England day 2, and Root has just got his second wicket.
Yeah, he's two for none from two
overs. Yeah. India are currently 125 for 7. If you want to sync up, that's where we are roughly to start this podcast.
So we're about an hour into the first session of day 2. The start of the session, India right on top. They're about 3 for 99, chasing England's 112 they made. So they do have a lead here, but England's really pinning this back. It's looking like a better and better game as each minute goes on.
Yeah, we're worried that India could have put 300 on them here, taking a nice commanding lead going into
it looked like it at the start of the day's play.
But, Sharma looked like he was in good nick, but obviously day 2, the restart of day 2 has changed everything. I think the English team, they brought more on the spinners in. I think it was Anderson and Broad bowled a lot yesterday. Getting Lynch and Root involved.
Leach and Joe Root's looking the goods here at the moment.
Do you want to run us through what happened yesterday?
Yeah, so let's go back to before the start of play. I think one of the interesting things to note is we're watching cricket in the world's biggest cricket stadium.
Oh, it's a lovely stadium too.
Yeah, it's been renovated, knocked down actually completely and rebuilt from the ground up. For the last 5 years. I think the last international cricket here in Ahmedabad was in 2014 or 15. This reconstructed stadium now seats 110,000, making it the biggest cricket venue in the world, superseding the MCG. Yep. It's been renamed the Narendra Modi Stadium after the current Indian Prime Minister, previously the Sardar Patel Stadium. I was wondering what the Indians would think. I'd love for anyone to get us in the comments if you do like a Prime Minister getting, the name of a cricket ground named after him whilst he's in office, quite unusual, I would have thought.
Did you see the start of this match? He was on the sidelines, came down the sidelines, and they walked him through and showed all the teams greeted him. Kohli was the master of ceremonies, just showing around introducing the team. So it was interesting. He had his full entourage with him on the side of the pitch.
But so they had the most popular man in India and the Prime Minister.
Yep. By far.
Put it into context like this. Imagine if a stadium was opened here and they called it the Scott Morrison Stadium.
The ScoMo.
The ScoMo.
There'd be a bit of an uproar, you'd think.
Oh, you never know. The Sharkies in the Shire. There's a new name for you.
Maybe. ScoMo, if you're listening. Maybe we go for former Prime Ministers, big Malcolm Turnbull.
Oh, well, Bob Hawke Stadium, though.
That'll go down well. That
would go down well.
Yeah, Hawthorn being the Hawks team, like...
For Bob Hawks, you reckon?
Well, the Hawks playing at Bob Hawke, so...
There, this...
Anyway, back to Indian cricket.
Anyways, it's the biggest cricket ground in the world now, 110,000, 50% seating capacity for this game, so there's about 55,000 in there, and boy, you could hear them yesterday.
They're very vocal.
Very unreal, really. England wins the toss. They elect to bat. The ball was doing a little bit early on. It is a pink ball test. It's a day-nighter, hence the late start for us here. It's 9 p.m. In Canberra. It's only the day's play only just underway in Ahmedabad. That ball was hooping. Sharma and Bumrah had it moving in all directions, and the pitch was staying low. There was a few that were double or triple bouncing through to Rishabh Pant behind the stumps there. Dom Sibley, unfortunately, he schnicked up to Ishant Sharma in the third over. Ishant playing his 100th test. If you wouldn't mind just having a look at his numbers there for us monks. And then after that sort of first 6-7 overs where the ball was hooping around, it just started looking like Chennai. And I think the Seamers, they bowled 11 overs total, and it was all Akshar Patel and Ravi Ashwin. And as I speak... Joe Root has gone to 3 for none.
Wow.
So we covered the Indian collapse when they made 36 live on the Esky a few months ago. We're seeing another one happen here. Obviously, they're on 125, a little bit different, but interesting to see it happen live on air. So the spinners, Akshar Patel, he had an absolute day. He trapped Bairstow. Did anyone see the Bairstow review?
Oh, the greatest is a Shane Watson review, that one.
I think even Shane Watson would have walked on that. That was horrendous.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he thought
Yeah, right.
maybe I'd hit the ball, but he hit the inside of his pads, or he
I think
thought
that's exactly
maybe
what
it had
happened.
more bounce and was going over the stumps. But
Yeah.
that's right,
first look at the replay, I was like, yeah, I'm out.
That's plum.
That's
Yeah.
very plumb.
Yeah, I think he thought he might have hit the ball. It obviously caught the corner of his pad there. Have you got Ishant Sharma's numbers there after 100 tests? He must have 300 odd test wickets.
Yes, if not more.
I got it right in front of me and I can't find it. 302.
302.
Although this is
Yeah.
off 99.
So
matches,
so the last games doesn't include the one that he got yesterday. So in that 300 club, it's pretty exclusive club. And I didn't actually obviously he's been around a long time. I didn't realise he'd actually played that many tests. So shout out to Ishant Sharma. They sometimes call him the Indian Peps. Big long wrong dog rolling in. Wish I could bowl as well as he does, but
He part of that Prime Minister presentation yesterday. He did get a cap. Well, the Indian equivalent of the baggy green.
oh yeah.
Don't know.
Well, that's something for us to get at. Or what do you call the Indian Test cap? If anyone wants to let us know in the comments.
But got that in a nice case, and he got something else. I just can't remember the top end. But both presented to him by the Prime Minister, which I would guess it would be a very special moment for him.
Yeah, for
to
sure.
have be that 100 tests get presented with those items for him.
So debuted for India when he was 18 years old.
Yeah, against Australia, I feel like it might have been
It was against Bangladesh.
Bangladesh, but I remember him playing against us as a 19-year-old
Yeah,
or something.
very young.
Yeah,
Definitely,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so when was that? It must have been
2007.
Yeah,
Yep.
there you go. Ishant Sharma put together quite a test career. So at that stage, after the Bairstow garbage review, they were about 2 for 27. Zach Crawley and Joe Root, they tried to steady the ship. They put on about 47 before Root got trapped by Ashwin. Crawley departed not long after that. He's trapped by Akshar Patel for 53.
It was a good quick knock for him.
Yeah,
So back in the side, he was the only one that looked kind of comfortable in the start of this.
Yeah, well, you take away his 53 and England's doozied there for 60, aren't they?
Yes.
So, really good, important knock there from Zach Crawley. So they were 3 for 80 before he departed, and then they ended up losing 7 for 32. So a massive, massive collapse there. Did you say that Ashwin ball that got Ollie Pope?
Oh, maybe.
So he was bowling. He was bowling his offies around the wicket, and most of them jarring back in to the right hander, and then he just got one just to straighten up a little bit, and just took the top of his off bail, and it was a really nice seed, that one.
Actually, I think I did see this. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Stokes went to a sort of the ball stayed a little bit low from Patel, and that just ensured that England would be done cheaply. They managed 112. I think the only point I would like to make from the end of that innings was that Stuart Broad dismissal, given the situations. Did you see that? He went to sweep the ball and just put it straight down deep square leg's throat.
He did, yeah.
Broad's reasonably handy with the bat. He could have hung around a little bit longer. I suppose, he's not there to score runs, so maybe that was going through his head, but seemed like a little bit of a silly dismissal to me at the test level. And Akshar Patel in his second test finished up with 6 for 38. It's pretty unreal, and Ravi Ashwin chipped in with 3 for 26 himself.
Definitely getting a turn, Patel.
Yeah,
it looks good. But
Well, the thing was
we'll
they were getting
talk about the pitch in a second.
Yeah, well, they were getting it turning, but then the wickets came off balls that they were straightening up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And then sometimes when you're playing, you got to play for the turn, and it's some of those ones that straighten can get you when you're playing for the spin.
Yep.
But yeah, a few landmines out there for a day one.
So
Wicket, that's for sure.
was Archer third or fourth highest run scorer for England?
You got it there.
Crawley was 1, Root was 2.
So Crawley got 57, Root got 17,
53 wasn't it for Crawley?
Sorry, yeah. Folks got 12, and then Archer got 11.
Yeah, so it doesn't
Dismal.
help. It doesn't help when you're over there in your number 3. Not much from the English middle order. Something I was saying to you boys during the week. Obviously, we've seen Joe Root, being in absolutely phenomenal form over the last sort of 12 months in the Test arena. It seems to me if he doesn't make runs, England can be a little bit susceptible. And then on top of that, if he doesn't make runs and Stokes doesn't make runs, three just, I don't know, they don't really look like a world-class top three. I think they're all averaging in the mid-30s. I know Bairstow averages about 35.
Yeah, well, it was Bairstow's first match back, and same for Crawley. So they had a new opening partnership, and Crawley looked like he pretty solid. There was a good ad of 50.
Yeah.
Bairstow, still he still looks like he maybe a bit out of sorts.
Well, he doesn't look like a number three.
No.
He doesn't look like a number three, and we've spoken about it before on the Esky. When you go back 5 to 15 years in English cricket, where it was Alastair Cook and Andrew Strauss and Trescothick before him, it was just pick and stick. Your openers or your top three just sort of pick themselves. And the last 5 or so years since the retirement of Cook, I think it's been less than that, maybe 3 years since Alastair Cook retired, just been an absolute carousel in the top three of the English batting order. Middle order sort of pick, with Stokes and Root, they sort of pick themselves, whoever bats 5 or 6 has to be considered.
That's what we're talking about. Like for them, the world-class bats, like their top batsmen compared to the others around the world is like Root's 1 and then Stokes is a solid maybe. Like he's probably pretty close to that. But
Yeah. And then outside of that, no one's really world-class, are they?
No.
And it showed. It really did show yesterday. So India, they finished stumps day 1, 3 for 99. Shubman Gill was the first to go. He towed a pull shot off Jofra, and Jofra Archer, with that short run up and that bounce that he gets, he gets a lot of wickets like that, where the ball just gets onto the bat a little bit quicker than the batsman's suspecting. The brick wall, Pujara, he got trapped by Jack Leach. And then Kohli, we were speaking about it last week. He continues his 100 drought. Yeah, he was looking okay before he chopped on off Leach for 27. That must be 35 international innings now without 100. So I'm sure he doesn't feel any pressure. He's, as we said, one of the best cricketers of all time.
He's not in the same position Aaron Finch is.
And we shall get to Aaron Finch shortly, but obviously Kohli would love a international ton. Yes. I'm sure we won't be waiting too much longer to see that. Just an interesting point there. Rohit Sharma, Mako, I hope you're listening. You were calling for his axing.
Yeah. Your favourite Indian cricket player?
Before the second test, he went out and made a good ton last test, and he was 57 not overnight, batting there with Rahane. Since then, a lot has happened. It's sort of all been unfolding.
5 since then.
Unfolding in front of us. Yeah, so they were 3 for 99. They're currently 8 for 126. Quick maths. That's 5 for 27 that they've lost since stumps yesterday. So England well and truly back into this game, and we've got a test on our hands, don't we?
Yeah, did Leach and Root open the bowling today?
No, Jimmy Anderson had
one.
Jimmy Anderson had it early, and we were just setting up, so we didn't have that. I imagine it was Anderson and Archer, but they've been
a few, but these two have been dominating.
Yeah, been going the last 6 or 7 overs since we've had it on. It's definitely been Jack Leach and Joe Root going at it, and you'd imagine the way that this deck's playing, they try and finish up the last 2 Indian wickets here.
Yeah, I'd say fairly quickly, and we'll have England back in for a bat on day 2 for the second innings already. Yeah,
and doesn't look like there's a cloud in the sky, so they'll probably get a result here after three days, you'd think.
So let's talk about the pitch, and then we'll go to the World Championship.
Mm-hmm. Can you bring up those World Championship, what needs to happen? I know we spoke about it last time. I would love a refresher on that.
Yeah,
got that right here.
Beautiful.
So what are your thoughts on the pitch, Babby?
It looks horrendous, but sometimes you like to see that there's something there for the bowlers.
Well, if you enjoy spin bowling, then it's this pitch and last pitch have been excellent for that.
We were talking about the other week about how they obviously prepare the pitch for their own team's bowlers. So
you might have upset a lot of people saying that, Monkey, but look, both teams have to bat on it, and the English spinners, even if it is Joe Root rolling his arm over, are benefiting from it.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad pitch. It's just that's how they've turned the pitch.
That's how they've.
But you look at both bowling ends and how quickly the dust was just kicking up and they just fell apart. You'd probably want that to hold. Maybe into day 2 or 3, not after 10 overs, it's kind of completely fallen apart where it's it's a very dusty track.
Well, yeah. Well, look, we're not even into 4 sessions in this Test match, and there's 18 wickets taken. So, if this goes past day 3, it'll be a miracle.
Yeah, at this rate.
Yeah, and for the neutral viewer, you probably you just want to see more cricket, don't you? But it is nice to see different conditions. It's not like the old Adelaide Ovals or.
It's not a fast, bouncy track as much.
Yeah,
there's a little bit of bounce and a little bit up and down.
Well, you remember
heavy spin.
Remember growing up watching Aussie Summers, and whoever won the toss would go out and bat in Brisbane or Adelaide and score 500 and bat for 2 days, and it's just a very different form of Test cricket, and that's why we love the Test format.
Yeah, that's why we travel.
Probably the most because there is these little intricacies between the wickets, and the way that the Test match unfolds is completely different. Due to the state of the pitch.
Yep.
You do think on day 1 it is a little bit much. That's my personal opinion. I'd like to see the batsmen have a little bit more hope.
I would have liked to see the pitch on day 1 be a bit harder, so it stays together, and then
and just a little
today, then start breaking away.
Just a little bit more consistent as well. You saw when Sharma and Bumrah had that new pink ball yesterday, and the inconsistency in the bounce. Some were going up to Pant's throat, and then others that had pitched in the exact same spot were double bouncing, dribbling through to him. That's pretty hard to bat on as an opener, and it's the first 10 overs of a Test match.
Yeah. So I get my final question was going to be the English side, because they've got one specialist spinner, and then we've got Root throwing down his half trackers.
Doesn't matter, obviously. Root's 3 for 4 in his fourth over.
We know Harley couldn't be in the team because he's gone home for 2 weeks.
Dom Bess is the only other option, isn't
exactly. Why isn't Bess staying in the team? Why would you go with Broad, Archer, and Anderson?
I think maybe they were thinking pink ball,
swing a bit,
night time, might swing a bit more under the lights, and the ball was hooping. To start off both of these innings, that's probably the thinking there. And then they haven't made the wrong decision. They've got India 8 for 130 here. They should have them cleaned up, for less than 150. Excuse me.
Ashwin's going to hit another ton here.
I'm sure the Indian fans would love it. Really nice knock last Test. But sometimes you can get away with your part timers like a Joe Root. I know Michael Clark had a lot of success bowling in India. I'm sure if we maybe that can be a little bit of homework for us if we go through some of the part time spinners that have had really nice success in the subcontinent. Sometimes you don't have to go that extra specialist spinner, and so far so good for the Poms. They should get out of this only 30 or 40 behind.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyways, I think that wraps up as much as we can talk about from what's happened. Obviously, this game's going to continue live during this podcast.
In the background, and we'll update it throughout.
That's right. If there's any wickets or anything of note, we'll mention it, and will be something that we'll discuss on the next podcast in wrapping up the 3rd Test. The last thing is, I suppose, the implications for Australia. We did speak about it last time on the Esky. Essentially, we need as an Aussie fan, a pretty close Test match. Can you just run us through the results there and what happens there, Jim?
From memory. Yeah, from memory.
A trip down memory lane.
England needed to dominate.
Yes.
So
bring it up here.
Yeah, if they don't win this Test, they got to win 3-1 from here. So they got to win this one and the next 2.
No. So there's only 4 tests. So
they have to win this one.
England
and the next
has to win. Both tests. So if they lose this, they're done. They're done. They can't play in the match at Lords in June.
Yep.
What does India need to do?
They need to win this one and then not lose.
Yes.
Yep.
So 2-1 or 3-1 gets India home. So at this stage, you'd say India are probably the favourites to be in this game against New Zealand.
Yes.
Yeah. And Australians need to be doing our rain dance. And because this game's not going to be a draw.
Not this way, no.
Unless there's some day after tomorrow type shit that rolls through Gujarat on the western side of India in the next few days. This game's not going to be a draw, and then it's going to come down to this 4th and final Test. And
we'd really want England maybe to sneak this one somehow.
Yes,
because that then puts Australia very much in the box seat.
Yeah, that's right. But then if England win the next test, then
it's back to England, of course. Yeah.
Anyway, it's an interesting thing that the ICC has put forward this World Test Championship. It just adds that little bit extra to each test match, and we're on the edge of our seats watching a test, that's going through the middle of the night, our time, over in the subcontinent, and always been a cricket fan, but I think it's just added that little bit extra spice. Good on the ICC for making this a part of Test cricket.
Yeah, well, it's we as Australian fans are now engaged in this series. Besides the fact that this is actually a really interesting series, but we're engaged as well because we're like, hey, we still got skin in the game really in this.
Yeah.
Besides putting a bet on it, we still got skin in the game on this. That hey, we want each team to do well, like go 2-2. That'd be perfect. We'd like if England can sneak this one and then there's no result in the next one. Then that also works in our favour because that's the options for us. So there's still 6 outcomes, 3 of which are in Australia's favour, but it needs a very close series.
Yeah, and the 3 that are in Australia's favour numerically are less statistical, less probable. So a 1-1, that's you can put a scratch through that. That's not happening.
That's gone.
That's not happening. And
then, not after this test. No.
And then unless there's some kind of inclement weather in the 4th test, there's
they get hurricanes in India.
I don't think they get hurricanes. They get
monsoon.
Monsoon.
We need a monsoon. That's what we need.
I imagine
I think it's the wrong
season.
time of year. Yeah.
If any of our Indian fans want to let us know,
it's snowing in Texas. So.
how it works. I do know Ahmedabad is a little bit more inland, say, than Chennai.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's drier. I'm not a meteorologist here. I'm way too ugly to be presenting the weather, at least.
You got the legs for it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's a shame about everything else, but.
Yeah, nice and slender, no carbs.
The final point we wanted to make was good on the ICC for introducing this thing, this World Test Championship. At first, I thought it might be a little bit gimmicky, but
2 years in the making. We're now at the pointy end, so
here we are.
It's interesting.
We're staying up in the middle of our night down here to watch India and England, whereas back in before this was a thing, we might have just checked on our phones the result in the morning.